Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Ha 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 ha! Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! You know, my daughter's scared of that. I have a skull that is wound up with batteries, of course. That has blood coming down the front of it. I've had it for like 10 years. And I when she was about 2, we played it. It goes, it's this skull. As you walk past it, it's got a motion sensor on it. So you're walking past, you leave it on the street, and suddenly you hear, ha 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 ha! Happy Halloween! And she's scared of it now, even though she's 5. She doesn't even want to look at it.
It's amazing how good some of that stuff has gotten and how affordable it has become in some camps. You know, all the animatronic, spooky Halloween. Anyway.
Well, it's like anything. You know, you've got the technology. Whenever technology, like, you know, you take plasma TVs. When they first came out, there was $7,000 a piece or $6,000 a piece. Now you can probably get them for like $1,500. You know, it's totally different. So the same thing with technology and that stuff. As it comes out, it gets expensive, and then everybody goes, "Oh, I'll figure it out to do it this way," and it all changes, you know. But I know you had a thing this week, didn't you?
I had a thing yesterday, oddly enough, for Halloween. We rolled in a big Halloween fall festival / carnival / big dinner for all the children at Social Services in Canoga Park. So we were there all day, for the most part all day, trying to bring a little magic to those who could use it.
Well, I think that's great, but you did pardon the pun when you said slash, since it was Halloween. You didn't mean slash.
I meant the punctuation.
I see. I'm just checking, you know. But so how did it go? I mean, what was you know, I mean, you had a lot of kids there. That was a lot of kids for social services.
Yeah, you know, oddly enough, it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. We had candy, we had dinner, we had all kinds of games, huge setups. The biggest jumper I've ever seen. It's got to be the biggest jumper on planet Earth. I mean, this thing, it was literally over 60 feet long.
No way.
Yeah.
Jumper?
Yeah.
That big?
Huge. It was huge. The big slide component, obstacle course.
And so what? So you did that? It was all free for them, was it?
It was all free. The volunteers consisted of a sorority, a Girl Scout troop, some of the kids that were on my daughter's soccer team that I coached. And it was great. We did a whole big party. We had all kinds of dessert, food. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Do you want to give a shout-out to any of them? I think that's awesome. When people volunteer for stuff like that, I think it's, you know.
The volunteers, I gave them a shout-out on Facebook. I'm reluctant to give them two. I don't like to do shout-outs on the radio because when the one person you forget is the one person who texts you immediately. But,
and then you won't be invited to their party ever again.
Yeah, well, what I will say, though, is honestly there was a lot of great people that got involved, and we were heavy in thank yous yesterday and on Facebook today. Loda Hadley obviously spearheaded a lot of the organization of the whole event. My daughter, Sean, was instrumental in doing it. She even ran like an arts and crafts station for the kids, a Halloween arts and crafts station. There was a lot of great volunteers that got Barry Pike, who's at our annual Christmas event for homeless kids every year, as Ben Kenobi was there. A lot of the cosplayers came out, Kevin Sullivan. But I also got to point out that it's very expensive to do, and we were also able to help their food bank. And writer-producer Ann Flett, who's on the show Mom, did Desperate Housewives, got behind the effort, as did Greg Griffin, who's the voice of Daphne and Scooby-Doo. They all got in on the effort to help us actually get it done financially, which was the huge component to the whole thing. So big debt to them and everyone else who got behind the campaign. And it was it was fun because, as you know, being in the work you so often do, it's the little things that tend to matter. And it's kind of the, you know, you can donate your time or your resources however you choose to. But for us, a good part of our platform is to try to bring a sense of self-esteem and equality to the kids. And that's by letting them do things that are normal, that they wouldn't typically get to do. For instance, our Christmas event. It's because most of those kids don't get Christmas, and they get to feel like they have a Christmas and they belong. Because many of these kids are still on the schoolyard, et cetera, Boys and Girls Club, and they're in an environment with other kids. So Halloween, this was a big thing to do. Like, we were going to help the food bank out, and we're going to do Halloween. So you can feel like you can have a Halloween, too, instead of being told, you know, you don't get to dress up and don't trick-or-treat because you don't have a neighborhood or you can't afford a costume. We were able to do some of that. We donated some costumes. It was fun.
I think the interesting thing about Halloween, it crosses races and religions. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not like Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever is a specific, you know, demographic that actually celebrates that.
Yeah.
You know, but Halloween kind of everybody gets involved in it. Isn't Halloween the biggest event of the year, or is it Thanksgiving?
Second biggest, I think.
Second biggest,
but it's definitely. I mean, my friend William Salyers, who plays Rigby on the regular show, put it best. He says it's performance art. Everyone gets out to play a character. You get to go out on the street and be something if you choose, or you get to embrace the fact that people are being these characters. Coming to your door is not a crazy, awkward thing, and that's one of the beautiful concepts about it. And I should thank quickly everyone, including our very own John Beerley, who got behind the campaign, but also all the artists who jumped on board the Combat Radio Halloween CD and donated their time, tracks, artistic wizardry to put the CD together, because that was essentially the rewards for people supporting the effort. So they deserve, for all their time and effort, a big props and thanks, including the members of Oingo Boingo, Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, the cast of Star Wars Rebels, Guardians of the Galaxy, all got involved. And you can still get it and still help social services out if you choose to buy a Halloween album at this juncture in the holiday month.
Well, it's
cdbaby.com/combat radio Halloween.
See, that voice came out of nowhere.
By someone who got it. And yes,
cdbaby.com.
Yes.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, gentlemen. I figured it would be nice to fit in with the Halloween theme, a little bit of disembodied vocal.
Yeah.
Well, should we really get in? I think this morning we should get really into the Halloween theme, don't you? I mean, I think we should sort of just let you all feel the Halloween thing. So we're going to just sort of do that, I think.
Yeah, I've got a Halloween track here off the album, and it's actually listed as a secret track. If you read the album cover, there's 45 tracks on it. This is the last one. It's a secret track, but the cat's out of the bag, so I'm going to play it for you.
Not many people know that.
Here it is. This is off the Combat Radio, now today the Peace Fund Radio, the Halloween album.
Under the arc of weather-stained boards, ancient goblins and warlords come out the ground, not making a sound. The smell of death is all around. And the night when the cold wind blows, no one cares, nobody knows. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. Follow Victor to the sacred place. This ain't a dream, I can't escape. Mullet's fangs, the clicking of bones, spirits moaning among the tombstones. In the night when the moon is bright, someone cries, something ain't right. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. The moon's full, the air is still. All of a sudden, I feel a chill. Victor's grinning, flesh rotting away. Skeletons dance, I curse this day. In the night when the wolves cry out, listen close and you can hear me shout. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again. I don't want to be buried
you go.
Yeah, it was. And we did a quick thing offline. So those of you who didn't know what was going on in the studio while we were actually playing that track, you can go on the Twitter feed now because we periscoped it.
Special features.
There's special features of what was going on in the studio. It's kind of...
Dennis McCalman out of Ireland did that track. The secret track off the Halloween.
Well, I was talking to an Irish guy on the.
Were you?
Well, yeah, it was a guy on Periscope. It was Irish, so that's interesting.
Well, that's cool. I wonder if it was him because he follows us.
Yes, he does. Does he really?
Yes, he does.
Oh,
yes. You have your listeners and your fans out there.
I have,
of which it keeps growing month to month.
That's really great. I mean, I think that's a kind of great thing because, you know, we do talk about issues that affect everybody. It doesn't matter what race, religion, or place you live in. We really sort of do go around the gamut. And, yes, sometimes we get rather passion in here. Next week and the week after, we're going to be bringing some of the people, some of the stars we actually had from the poker tournament. You're going to hear some of the things they had. Good. People like Carl Weathers are going to be talking about some of the stuff he does. We're going to mention it here on the radio. We're going to play those clips, and then I'm going to be reaching out to a few more celebrities as well to bring them on here that have said they want to come on the show. So I'm going to be reaching out to them. It's been a rather busy kind of 3 or 4 weeks for me, and I've got my mother-in-law's in town right now, and got a new house we're trying to renovate, which is going to cost me a fortune.
And you're doing sword demos and other interesting things like that.
Yeah, and I'm rewriting a script, which is a script I was given to direct, and it's all about called Chemical Influence, which is about influences, addictions, and all that type of stuff. So it's and since we are on that, we're going to be talking about addiction in our kids today, because we've been talking about addiction for the past two times, and we're going to tackle the last two areas this time, which is video gaming and prescription drugs. Video gaming. Okay, if you're a parent in this era of information and technology, chances are you have a kid that's has played, or is playing, or who will be playing a video game. Mm-hmm. Video game, it's a rapidly growing market that went from having a market volume of 100 million in 1985 to a worldwide market volume total today of $93 billion.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I was watching yesterday. One of my guys came into my office yesterday and showed me. He said he's just finished a film, and it's like this other film that they did. It was a Swedish kid, who basically did it out of his backyard garage, did this film for his half-hour film. It has 26 million views on YouTube, and he did it for a shoestring. And it's amazing. It's amazing what he's able to accomplish. Things blowing up and people flying through the air, and just incredible. So I think the video gaming has taken over our lives, and I think, you know, it's a great thing, but we also have to be very careful. The PBS documentary Web Junkie highlights the tragic effects on teenagers who become hooked on video games, playing for dozens of hours at a time, often without breaks to eat, sleep, or even use the bathroom. Many come to view the real world as fake, which is rather sad, because then you're going to get when they get grown up, they're going to find things that is going to shock them a little bit. It's funny because this morning I was in yoga and somebody said, "Oh, this movement's great for your video gaming until 2 o'clock in the morning. I busted you." And one of the girls says, "Yeah, I know." So I mean, even, you know, it's not only kids; it's people that are in their 20s and 30s that are sitting there doing video gaming as well.
We know.
But, you know, for kids, it's a real danger becoming too involved in playing these games, even living too much of their lives in the virtual world of the internet. And in rare cases, you've got symptoms of addiction can develop. Kids can require direct help from their parents, peers, and professionals to have a healthy, balanced life. While, you know, changing the environment and the routine can sometimes be enough to break kids out of an addictive mindset. The reality is it's hard to prohibit kids from using technology on a regular basis, since it's such an integral part of their life. I mean, your daughter plays a fair amount of video games, Ethan, doesn't she?
Actually, she's really doesn't. She does a lot of interactive stuff. I mean, what I've really find her doing is reading a lot online, or drawing a lot online in a sketchbook. She'll play video games on occasion, but it's not nearly to the point where I would be alarmed about it. It's not every day. It's not even every week. Mm-hmm. She'll play, you know, when she plays, she'll play for an hour or 2 hours. But maybe that's only once or twice a month.
What about you, Mr. Billy? I know you're sneaking in the background there. Are you a video gamer?
I'm not. I don't own a video game system. A lot of it is just for financial reasons. If the entertainment I buy is usually movies and books, and, you know, there's just no room in the budget for anything else. But I've just really never had a lot of desire to sit that long in front of a screen and play something. I spend enough time sitting in front of screens, working and writing, that to me, just spending more time in front of a screen just doesn't really appeal to me.
How's your script coming along?
We knocked out 30 pages on Sunday, and we're getting together to work more on it tonight.
Fabulous. Well,
you can join us for a conversation about it later if you'd like.
Yeah, sure, I'll be around. I've got a lot of stuff to do. I've got the Peace Fund, the new Peace Fund website we're going to be talking about today. I've got another meeting later this afternoon for some computer stuff. So, plus a few other things. I'll be writing this afternoon. But, I was a video gamer at some point, and, it does take up a lot of your time. You're there for hours. And one of the big things about it is role-playing. I mean, the role-playing, you take up the role of a fictional character, and you interact with other people in the virtual world who are in other countries around the world, which is kind of fun. But as Kimberly Young, PSYD, Clinical Director of the Center for Online Addiction, puts it, an intelligent child who is unpopular at school can become dominant in the game, which basically means the virtual life becomes more appealing than real life.
I think you see that with a lot of people.
Yeah, it's and the interesting thing is you find I've seen it before, and I don't know whether it's just solely you become socially inept. Mm-hmm. You're not able to have a conversation with people in this world because you have it in a different world, and I think that's problematic in a sense because how do you communicate? How do you get your ideas across?
And you also have to keep in mind too now with so much networking and chat rooms on video games now, the same kinds of predators who troll Facebook and Twitter also look for victims in chat rooms for video games as well. So it's another thing to make your kids aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some facts. Nearly 9 out of 10 children aged 8 to 18 play video games. 9 out of 10 children from age 8 to 18 play video games. In the US, the biggest age group for massive multiplayer online games is 8 to 12-year-olds. An estimated 3 million children in the US are addicted to video games. The average young American will spend 10,000 hours playing video games by age 21. That's twice the time it takes to earn a bachelor's degree. That's sad.
That is very sad.
Children with video game addiction exhibit behaviors similar to pathological gamblers. A study appearing in the medical journal Pediatrics found that ADD or ADHD was twice as likely to have been diagnosed in children addicted to video games, which is interesting because I think, I guess that their attention span doesn't last that long because it's constantly on the move, if you like. When you're doing a video game, you're going from one thing to the next. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Probably.
So let's just talk about why won't kids stop playing them? We just discussed about, sometimes they feel they don't have much control over the world. They're generally told what to wear, what to eat, when to go to sleep and wake up, and how to spend most of the day. But in a video game, they control, how they're driving the race car, mastering mad guitar licks, or like leading a horde raid on the Alliance. Da-da-da-da. But then, and that's great excitement. It's like watching a movie in a sense, and some of these video games are, movie-driven, much more realistic these days. And a good game will get you your pulse racing and your adrenaline pumping, even if you're just sitting on the couch holding a controller. It's, there are different games. I'm not going to mention what they are because I think, that's sort of putting the cat into the bag, if you like, letting you see what they are. But there's some of them where you get down to 1 second before everything blows up because you can't find the 3 matching gems or the 3 matching items that you need. Then there's also the games that have skill levels. So you start simple, so anyone can play, but then you increase the difficulty, you improve the game. This sucks the player into the game, gives them a sensation of accomplishment, makes them hard to stop playing. Now, I know you've heard something to the effect of, but Mom, I was just about to reach over level 60 and I got a new set of armor. After telling times, it's dinner time, honey. No, Mom. I get it now watching TV. I have to turn the TV off. Their TV is restricted, to a certain amount of time. I get it, guys. Sometimes you don't have the time in the day because you've got to make dinner for your kids. You've got to go out to work. You've got to do those things. But there are other things they can do. I'm not saying cut video games out. I think it's an exciting thing to do. But there is an addiction quality that you have to adjust as a parent. Now, many parents view gaming as a relatively harmless addiction, but when you're home, you know what they're doing, you know who they're playing with. kind of, sort of. But,
yeah, sort of.
Kind of. But video game addiction can ruin lives. Children who play 4 to 5 hours a day have little time for socializing, which we just taught. They don't do their homework. They don't play sports. It takes away that social development, which we talked about a second ago. And, you can get a 21-year-old with the emotional intelligence of a 12-year-old if he's never learned to talk to girls or he's never learned to play a sport. I mean, this is, and it's hard to kick it too. Video game and computer addicts just can't avoid computers. They need to use them for homework and communication with friends. It's like putting an alcoholic in a bar and saying, let's just have one more drink. So parents need to set strict limits and monitor usage. Most important, though, parents should also help their kids find alternatives to video games. Something really, basic like start talking to your kids would be an interesting thing. Try to get them to participate in sports, join the school band or an after-school club, or just go outside and play with the neighbours. I mean, you don't be afraid with the words which my cousin used forever. How was school? I'm bored. What were you doing today? I'm bored. What did you do? Any sports? Well, it's boring. I mean, truth is, if they get bored enough, they'll find something to do. You can always offer to give them some extra chores around the house. That will stop them from being bored. So the bottom line is discuss internet use with them and gaming early with your kids. Set clear expectations to help them steer them in a healthy direction before a problem begins. Communication doesn't necessarily mean a formal talk. Rather, it's about giving your child an opportunity to share their interests and experiences with you, because you're the one that actually governs it. And I think a lot of parents are aware of this, but sometimes they don't have time. And I think this is one of the things our world today is so fast. I mean, Ethan, you're sitting there with a computer in your hand, and you've got a phone, and and the radio. You've got 3 things you're doing right now. So we don't have time to do this. But I think it's very important to realise that schedule a day, spend an hour a day. Mm-hmm. You know what I do with my daughter now? I mean, I'm taking my daughter to school. I spend every day now. We've decided to do every single day on her reading and writing. Basically, just to do 20 minutes and stop, and another 20 minutes and another 20 minutes. And you're connecting with them while you're doing that. You're running them to tell them, how do you spell Dan or hard or drive or whatever the word is, and they engage with you, because instead of sitting in front of a TV or sitting in front of a video game, I think it's important, because it will later on in life. Trust me, there is a great saying. When you have a daughter, she'll be with you for life. When you have a son, he'll be with you until he gets married. It's a real simple analogy, but if you cut that communication with your daughter or your son will end a lot quicker, because they don't have anything in common with you. It's a real simple thing. So we talked about addiction with video games, and I think it's a tough thing to do, but the other thing we also want to talk about, and any of you out there want to talk to us, you can call us now about this stuff.
Yeah, call us.
Ethan's excited about that. He wants to hear you. Yeah, call us. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's not how I said it.
But, there is also prescription drug abuse. A lot of you, we constantly hear about good schools, even private schools that have a problem with drug abuse, and prescription drug abuse is more common than you think. Prescription drug abuse is the fastest growing drug problem in the United States. 120 Americans die every day from drug overdoses, mostly involving legal prescription drugs. That's more than car crashes, ladies and gents. Did you know that prescription and over-the-counter OTC drugs are the most commonly abused substances by high school seniors after marijuana and alcohol? Some of these medications have psychoactive, which is basically mind-altering properties, and because of that, are sometimes abused, taken for reasons or in ways not intended by the doctor, or taken by someone with no prescription. And that's an issue, because if you don't know what you're taking, again, I'm not a great prescription drug person. I'm not the type of person you can talk to and say, I'm going to take unless it's extremely necessary. My wife had just recently an infection of her teeth. She needed the antibiotics to actually kick it out. There are certain times you take it, but unfortunately, we over-abuse the prescription drugs. Even as adults, we over-abuse them. We constantly take them, believing that that's what's going to save us. Unfortunately, what ends up happening, you're not actually dealing with the problem. You're actually just putting a Band-Aid over a large cut, and it's never going to heal. Facts, ladies and gents, more than 1,600 teens begin abusing prescription drugs each day. Most of the prescription drugs abused by teens come from family medicine cabinets and from friends. Lock your cabinets up or put them up in a different area. Do you do that, Ethan? Where are your medications?
We only have a couple of medications in the house related to a condition Loda was struggling with, but they're all locked up in a medicine cabinet upstairs.
What about you, John? Do you have it's like having the smoking gun in the house. I don't use it, but I'll just keep it loaded under this. You don't think kids know where it's at? What about
exactly? No, I don't take anything. But I know when my mother was alive, and she struggled with so many major medical conditions and had lots of prescriptions for very, very powerful drugs. So we kept everything in a safe.
That's a good place.
Locked away in a safe, because there was so much of it, and so much of it was really powerful, nasty stuff. If there was a thief who wanted to break into a house for prescription medicines, our house was Fort Knox.
Well,
for that kind of thing, and we kept it all locked away in a safe. And after she passed away, disposed of it all by the proper means. So
it's funny because even vitamins, too many vitamins are not good for you. My kid is always going, I want my vitamins, because they're those sweet, sugary vitamins that are made for young kids, and he loves them. But imagine if it's, something like Percocet or something, and he thinks it's a vitamin, takes that instead. You can cause serious damage, or you can actually, put your kid in a very serious situation if you don't look at those drugs. Like many kids mistakenly believe prescription drugs are safer to abuse than illegal street drugs. Not true. 12 to 17-year-olds abuse prescription drugs more than ecstasy, heroin, crack cocaine, and methamphetamines combined.
Wow.
Combined. Imagine that. Because, why? Because they think it's safer, because they can get it from their parents' lockers, because you haven't locked it away correctly. 2/3 of people 12 and older, that's 68%, who have abused prescription pain relievers within the past year, say they got them from a friend or relative. Most commonly abused prescription drugs are pain medications, sleeping pills, anti-anxiety medications, and stimulants used to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorders. 1 in 5 teens, 20%, who have abused prescription drugs did so before the age of 14. So these are not numbers I'm just pulling out of my hat, for want of another word, but these are actual numbers that are facts given to us. And so while alcohol and marijuana remain the drugs of choice among teens, prescription drug use is climbing as kids turn to their parents' medicine cabinets for a free high. Now, medicated highs are even easier as kids use their own prescription for drug abuse. ADHD drugs like Ritalin and Adderall are being used for their speed-like effects, and many teens make a hearty profit selling these meds in school and offering it at parties. According to the National Survey of Public and Private High School Students in 2011, over 5% reported Ritalin abuse, and more than 9% admitted that they had abused Adderall in the past year. While these numbers are not as high as alcohol and marijuana, they're still too high, and they're climbing. In some cases, ADHD medications consumed like candy, sitting out in bowls for a free-for-all drug party and swapped at school. And it's big business. It has dangerous side effects. It's an alarming trend that you have the Adderall-addicted mom who, I'll get my drugs because my mom's using it. No problem. She's fine with it. Well, maybe not.
Wow.
Let's just think about it. Most teens who get the pills at school nowhere to get pills because, business-savvy teens quickly learn that high profits involved in ADHD medication and getting their hands on it is easier than one might think. So, there's dangerous side effects to ADHD medication, particularly because of its psychotropic quality. It can use confusion, hallucinations, delusions, and paranoia. Other side effects include high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, difficulty breathing, seizures, tremors, and severe mood swings. That's from an ADHD medication. Remember that. Drugs like Ritalin and Adderall contain amphetamines, which is a stimulant. Addiction to ADHD medication is common and frequently leads to heavier drug use. So, let's just talk about the addiction in moms, that you can go and get your pills from you, mom. A shocking ABC News special report in late 2012 revealed that between 2002 and 2010, there have been a 750% increase in Adderall prescriptions for women between 26 and 39. Many of these women were mothers, and they started taking the drug just so that they could be, wait for this one, just so they could be better moms. Oh, what a good idea. Let me get addicted to a drug so I can be a better mom. It makes them feel like they have an energy to keep up with all their roles, from chauffeur to grocery shopping and laundress and svelte goddess. It's not true. It doesn't help. Figure something else out, ladies. Sorry about that, but, many of these ladies got started by Adderall by borrowing it from their children's Adderall prescriptions and then moved on to acquiring a prescription of their own. So let's just talk about this. How can you protect it? How do we protect our teens? We'll talk about that in a second. John, let's just get on to you for now, because I want to get on to you because we're going to talk about a couple of other places, but we're on the section of the show now that we want to talk about our hero of the week, which I think you have a great one this week.
This one is really good, and it fits in right in with today's topic. Today's Peace Fund Radio hero of the week is 20-year-old Jordyn Schara of North Freedom, Wisconsin. From a young age, Jordyn made herself aware of the many issues affecting children in her community. And just like all of our previous heroes of the week, she knew she wanted to do something. She wanted to make a difference. So Jordyn founded a 501c3 charity called H.O.P.E to educate and inspire youth by utilizing community service to encourage kids to make a difference in the world. H.O.P.E stands for Helping Our Peers Excel, and you can find it at helpingourpeersexcel.com. Now, one of the major issues Jordyn wanted her organization to tackle was the proliferation of prescription drug abuse and addiction among children and teens. She heard stories of kids her age having farm parties, which Adrian mentioned just a minute ago, farm short for pharmaceutical, where they would raid their parents' medicine cabinets, steal a bunch of bottles, dump all the various pills into a big bowl, mix it all together, and start popping random medications in random combinations. You can't even fathom how dangerous that is, with results including permanent physical or mental damage or even death. She heard stories on the news of teens breaking into people's homes to steal prescription medications. As Jordyn says on her website, our medicine cabinets are the new drug dealers. She also learned that more people abuse prescription drugs than cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine combined, and that public health and the environment are harmed by the improper disposal of prescription medications, that the federal government neither required tests nor set safety limits for the amount of drugs in water. There is a concoction of drugs, antibiotics, anticonvulsants, acne medication, mood stabilizers, sex hormones, that have been found in drinking water supplies of at least 41 million Americans. According to an Associated Press investigation, small amounts of medication exposure can cause human breast cancer cells to grow faster, kidney cells to grow too slowly, and blood cells to show signs of inflammation. Jordyn could not believe these numbers. She couldn't believe these facts. So she contacted the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Department of Natural Resources, and the Department of Justice for guidance and assistance. But none of them had time for a 14-year-old girl from a little town in Wisconsin. So Jordyn drafted a plan on her own. She made presentations to her local city council, local law enforcement, hospitals, pharmacists, and businesses, and she visited schools to recruit volunteers. She also did her own marketing by distributing flyers and posters around town. But Jordyn needed more funding. She discovered a state grant that was available to help communities start drug collection programs. So she contacted her town's grant writer and said, "Look, if we can get this grant, we can do something big to protect children." He said, no, not interested. So she contacted a neighboring town and said, again, if we can get this grant, we can do something big to protect children. Their response to Jordyn was basically, there is no we. If our town wants to do something for our town, we'll do it. Or maybe we won't. And they didn't, by the way. But we're not going to share anything we win with some kid from the other side of the tracks. Buzz off. I'm sure those weren't their exact words, but that was the message. Now, if you listen to Peace Fund Radio each week, and you know what our heroes of the week are made of, you probably already know what happened next. 14-year-old Jordyn sat down and applied for the grant herself. And she got it. But here's the twist. She then contacted her own town that wouldn't help her, and the neighboring town that said they would never share with her, to say, I will split my grant between both our towns, so let's work together to help as many children as possible. Now, how amazing is that? 2 towns, her own and a neighboring town, both tell her, nope, not interested. So she does it herself and splits the proceeds of her grant between both to start programs. It's amazing. The grant allowed Jordyn to start Wisconsin Prescription Pill Drug Disposal, or WIP2D2. She held multiple drug collection events. She started drug collection programs in 6 communities in Wisconsin. She hosted free needle disposals and free mercury thermometer swaps, installed 24-hour drug drop-off boxes in communities, and purchased incinerators for cities to cut down on disposal costs, which combined have kept over 900,000 pounds of drugs, 900,000 pounds out of medicine cabinets and out of groundwater. That's 450 tons. You can't even imagine how many individual pills that is. I mean, one pill weighs slightly more than air, so you can imagine how many it would take to equal 450 tons. Jordyn has spoken to and mentored teens and adults across the United States, and her perseverance in the face of financial and logistical impossibility has built a national model for teen-created drug collection programs. Wisconsin P2D2 is the largest teen-operated, self-sustainable drug collection program in the world. It's in 22 states and recently extended into South America with a new chapter in Brazil. Now, I spoke to Jordyn on the phone this morning. She really wanted to join us on the show today, but she is in class right now. She did ask me to deliver 2 messages. The first to Adrian, to thank him for honoring her as a Peace Fund Radio Hero of the Week. And the second to everybody out there who's listening today, to let everyone know that P2D2 is still going strong, with yet another location opening in Wisconsin soon. And Jordyn will call us in a few weeks once her classes are over with some more updates about what they're doing and how they're expanding. Jordyn has won numerous awards, the local, state, and national level. She was chosen by Coca-Cola as one of 10 local heroes to carry the torch at the 2012 Summer Olympics. And her work with prescription drugs is only one aspect of her organization. To read Jordyn's story, to study her statistics, and to discover the other things she's doing to help children in her own community and beyond, including a unique literacy program for kids, visit her at helpingourpeersexcel.com. And for more information about her drug disposal programs and to see what options for drug disposal are available in your own community, check out Jordyn at the P2D2 website at p2d2program.org. It's p2d2program.org. So Jordyn Schara, you are our latest Peace Fund Radio Hero of the Week.
Well done.
Yeah, well done. I mean, I think that's the interesting thing also about this is that, there's a lot of pills in your cabinets that are way out of date. Way out of date. I mean, when was the last time you looked at your medicine cabinet? I mean, pills do expire. Think about that. So sometimes your kid might look at it and go, oh, look, there's this Adderall or whatever the drug they want to get in there, and it's been there for like 5 years or 4 years, and you don't even remember it, and they grab it out of your cabinet, and then what will happen? So, you've got to be very careful about that too. Clean out your cabinets. Put a lock on them, or put them up high where your kids don't find them. Or like John did, put them in a safe, if you find a safe. It could be like one of those carry safes, those tiny little ones that are like $60, $100 at Walmart. You can pick one of those up. If you got a small one, just stick your drugs inside it. It'll at least save the life of your kids or stop them from developing a habit that you would then be very sorry to see them go through.
Right.
I mean, seriously, it's a simple thing. How can you protect your teen? Keep them locked away in a secure place, which I just mentioned. If your children takes prescription drugs, keep control of the bottles. Talk to your school nurse about monitoring and giving your teen their medication during the school day. Another one is educate your children about the dangers of abusing prescription drugs and tell them that sharing prescription drugs is illegal. Now, a simple one, be alert. Monitor internet use in your home. There are many sites on the internet where prescription drugs can be purchased without a prescription. Don't keep unneeded medications in your home. We've got a phone call coming in right now. It'd be kind of interesting to hear what somebody else says. Do we have them lined in? Hello, you're on Peace Fund Radio. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hello.
Who am I talking to?
How are you?
Good.
I'm sorry. My nickname's Elle. And Adrian calls me his southpaw. I just wanted to explain something a lot of people don't understand about Adderall. When you take Adderall, you also become an insomniac. And when that happens, doctors prescribe what's called Ambien. Ambien is also an amnesiac, and people don't know that very much either. It's fairly new. It also is very deadly because you don't know what you're doing when you're on it at night.
Is this something you've had personal experience with, or something that you know of?
It's something that I have had personal experience with as a domestic violence survivor. That's what they prescribed because I couldn't sleep and because I'm ADHD. I took myself off the medication. They wouldn't allow me to go off of it, but I just kept filling the prescriptions, and I took them to hospitals to get rid of them because I didn't want to throw them in dumpsters or throw them out on my trash because I knew there were kids in my neighborhood. One Ambien pill, a 5 milligram pill, literally, you will not know what you've done between 4 to 8 hours. One night my son came to me and said, please don't take that. And I said, why? I need to go to sleep so I can get up in the morning for you to take you to school. And he said, because last night you left, you were gone for 4.5 hours. You came back with a van full of groceries. And he walked me into the kitchen, and I literally sat down and cried because I had no memory of it. I could have died, and he'd have been, an orphan. But nobody talks about Ambien. The doctors won't talk about it. No show wants to talk about it because it's an amnesiac. They used it for soldiers with PTSD, and now they're giving it to women because they can't sleep or because the baby keeps them up too late. Well, 50 years ago, the babies kept us up too late anyway. So I don't understand. Being an ADHD and a domestic violence survivor, there are so many things that doctors tell you, oh, well, we can fix it. You can't let a doctor fix it. You have to fix it.
Well, unfortunately, you actually have the prescription drug and the pharmaceutical companies are pushing it down because it's a product to sell. And, that's one of the reasons why there's much more prevalent these days than it was 30, 40 years ago. Right,
but they're not telling people what Ambien does. They tell you that it may cause issues waking up in the morning. Oh, well, here's some more Adderall. Oh, well, we'll up your Adderall or your, amphetamine. Oh, well, so you can't, this is causing you to do things to sleepwalk. Oh, we'll give you a heavier dose. That way, your body won't move. It doesn't work that way. And they don't ask any pharmacist, call a pharmacy, ask a doctor. They won't tell you that. Read the papers that they print up. It says nothing about it, nothing about the studies. I had to search for 2 years to find anything, and I couldn't find anything written that actually said that. I ended up finding out through a rape recovery group I started years ago when I lived in Michigan, and other parents, other women that had been hurt were shocked that they weren't the only ones on Ambien. They had been told, oh, well, the doctor said that it was, they only prescribe it to very, very rare cases. Well, how come everyone in the room was a rare case? On Adderall, on Ambien, on Seroquel. They've put us into a group, and we're all on the same medicine. And if you can't get off of it with their help, you can get off of it on your own. You just have to dial it back a little bit at a time.
And is this an issue for kids? Because obviously you're going to have those
it's
pills
around.
It's
a bigger issue for kids. Because when your son comes to you and you don't know what you did, and your 11-year-old does, or if your 11-year-old got a hold of an Ambien, they would die. I mean, I bought myself, I have it's a gun case, and I put my meds in there, and it's fingerprint. That's how, 10 years ago when they started prescribing this stuff for me, when I was hurt, I knew my kids were little, and I knew they wouldn't know the difference. I don't care about how the pharmacy says, oh, well, children can't get these lids off. How come when I got out of the hospital and had no use of my right arm, my son could open my bottle, but I couldn't?
That's a fallacy. My 3-year-old opens some of these childproof things. That's a fallacy. These days, I think,
exactly.
It'll stop some of them, but not all of them.
They swear to you, oh, no, it's too hard. They can't possibly.
That's not true.
My all 4 of my kids could. So what I did was I bought a gun box that was fingerprint open only.
Right.
Because through the groups that I've been in, there are so many children that are affected by it, get addicted. It may not kill them, thank God, but it's still they're addicted, and then they need it more
Right.
as they get older, as they gain weight, as they get bigger. Your body has to adjust. Your body gets to the point where it's not working, so they take more, they take more, they take more. And it's a cycle.
Right.
And women aren't seeing it. And it's not about ADHD or pregnancy or you're tired. It's just about you don't want to try. And it's so much easier to take a pill. Everything. Just take a pill. We have a pill for that. We have a pill for that. Great. But what about living?
Well, thank you for bringing us that, Southpaw. I believe the reason I called you that was because you were in one of the sword demos,
Yeah.
and you're a lefty, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My right arm pretty much covered, and you helped a lot. And a lot of women, I think, that went through domestic violence, and I've got thousands of people that have tweeted me, Twittered, and emailed and messaged, Facebooked. They feel that if they had some sort of defense or self-defense, that they would feel safer. And I started to see a pattern that once you could feel safer because you felt you could defend yourself, you kind of started to see that you didn't need drugs. You didn't, and I don't care if they call them prescribed or unprescribed, they're still drugs. They're just, bottom line is they're drugs. You can sell them, you can get them from anybody. God forbid parents that don't take the time and get a lockbox, a key, anything. Just, you can't rely on the caps that they put on the bottles.
Right.
So if women would just go get some help self-defense-wise and not from a psychiatrist or psychologist, but learn how to protect yourself, and that's what I've been trying to do.
Well, I think you're doing a good job at it. I think we're going to have to wrap it up because we're leaving the show. But thank you for calling us in this morning. I think it's a really good thing about Ambien because we haven't talked about that. But I think it's a great thing, and for somebody that's actually used it. So thank you for doing that with us, and keep listening to the show and spread the word.
I do. I try.
All right.
Anyway.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
So there you have it. I mean, interesting. We hadn't talked about Ambien. Imagine being 4 hours not knowing what you're doing. Imagine a young girl that's in her teens. She gets dumped a bit of Ambien. Anything could happen. She could get raped. She could get molested. She could get killed, beaten, whatever it is, and you would never know what it was. Mm-hmm. So prescription drugs are a very difficult thing to control if you don't take it into your own responsibility to make sure that they're locked up and make sure your kids can't get them. Now, there are a couple of organizations that do make a difference. Common Sense Media, www.commonsensemedia.org. They're a 4-star charity navigator charity. They're dedicated to improving the lives of kids and families by providing the trustworthy information, education, and independent voice they need to thrive in a world of media and technology. They exist because of our nation's children spending more time with media and digital activities than they do with families or in school. Now, that was for the video games we talked about earlier in the show. For the drugs, there is Partnership for Drug-Free Kids, www.drugfree.org. They work to reduce substance abuse among adolescents by supporting families and engaging with teens. The Partnership for Drug-Free Kids translates the science of teen drug use and addiction for families, providing parents with direct support to prevent and cope with the teen drug and alcohol abuse. So you can check them out. Again, as I mentioned, they'll be on our site at drugfree.org or regarding the media, commonsensemedia.org. We are running out of show. John, thank you for... Do you have any other quick updates we've got for us?
Just as always, you can go to thepeacefund.org to find out all of the things that we've got going on, how you can support our various programs, and to support the show.
Thank you. And also one other thing, I've just been finalizing the design of the new Peace Fund website. It's looking awesome. There's so many different things that we're going to be bringing you that you can get involved with. And we will have our own Peace Fund radio pages where there'll be all the archives. There'll be the show being on there. It'll be a special page for Peace Fund Radio where you can actually listen live and comment through the Facebook and Twitter feeds on that page. There's going to be a lot of different things coming out there. Again, I want to thank all of you behind the scenes. Obviously, Bev Shahara put this up, but also the other people that make these, who do some of the minutiae that takes us getting to the show and getting things out to you, whether it's through our initiatives, the people like our our photo editors and our video people and, all the people on our board. Thank you so much. And for those of you, thank you for watching. I want to leave you today with a quote from my yoga teacher, because I love this quote. She states it every time we finish the class. I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about most of the time on Peace Fund Radio. And that is, her name is Chapel Westlake. May you continue to see the beauty within yourselves and in others. May you have the courage to speak your own truths. And should your hearts ever be broken, with God's grace, may you have the wisdom to keep them open and love deeply. This is Adrian Paul and Ethan Dettenmaier. We'll talk to you next week.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.